Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Jeff, and I'm back here doing this live program for everyone. How are you? How's your Saturday morning? I hope you're doing great. I hope you're doing fine. Okay. So, well, we are what, seventh month or almost, I don't know. I lost track of time already. But today, someone is going to help us feel we still have that power, uh, even with even if we are just at home. Okay. Well, our guest for today is well, she has been in the uh, her previous job, okay, was in the luxury industry, and right now she's doing life coaching and some executive coaching. Well, without further ado, I'd like to bring in our guest today, Miss Shuang Min Chang. Hi, Shuang. Shuang Min,
Hello,
good morning. Yeah,
good
hi.
morning.
So, should we call you Miss Chang or Shuang Min or
Strong wind is fine. Strong wind is
Shuang
fine.
Min? All right.
Yeah,
Good morning.
good
Well,
morning.
Shuang Min is based in Taiwan, right? And
Now, yeah,
now, okay. And they're doing really great there in Taiwan. I'm so envious they can go out.
yeah,
Hopefully, we can do that soon.
yeah.
Anyway, how are you, Shuang Min?
I'm good. I'm really excited for this streaming and interview.
All right, good. Good to know. Just relax. It's just more of a conversation. People are eavesdropping, and that's fine. It's just like we're talking inside a cafe, and people hearing us.
Okay.
But anyway, Shuang Min, how long have you been back in? I know for a fact that previously you were related. Well, your job was in the luxury industry, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, and tell us more about your life and more about yourself first.
Okay. Now I call myself a lifestyle entrepreneur because I'm doing coaching and along other side stuff. Previous my last career is in luxury retail, so I was in that career for 10 plus years.
Oh
I
wow.
was I based in Shanghai for 7 plus years, and previously I was in Italy for 2 years and a half. It's all for luxury. And then before Italy, I was in India, but I was doing marketing for Indian and Taiwanese companies.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been moving around, and then last March I decided that I my life needs to take another turn for something else. I want to engage more like coaching and supporting people. So I left my last career.
Mhm.
During the transition, I decided to move back to Taiwan for a little bit to stay with my family since I've been out for almost 15 years.
Ooh.
So I moved back in October, was so ready to move to fly again this March, and then the pandemic happened. So since then, I stay in Taiwan. So staying in Taiwan is totally out of the plan.
All right. So you were supposed to leave Taiwan again after staying
In
there
March,
in October. In March, plan to
yeah,
leave
to leave.
Taiwan again to go back to the luxury industry or to
No,
be.
I had a grand planning of staying in Bali for 3 months, just surfing, and then I'm going to Japan, Okinawa first, and I want to do a meditation retreat for 10 days in Kyoto, and then visit my friend in Kyoto and Tokyo, and then in summer I was going to Europe,
Okay.
for one of my cousins' graduation. So like everything is planned until the end of the year. I was supposed to land in Brazil.
Wow. So everything changed.
Yeah,
Everything.
it's at the beginning it took me really not by surprise. It gave me a lot of anxiety at the beginning
Yeah.
because like we all have everything planned, and I haven't been staying in China for almost 15 years. So coming back here, it's kind of visiting a new place. It's just that I speak the language and my family is here. Other than that, it's nothing is really familiar for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you mentioned you have like what 10 or 15 years of what do you call this, of
Expertise.
experience in the
Mm-hmm.
luxury industry. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've brought a lot of principles from the luxury industry to your coaching and lifestyle entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So
My
yeah. Go ahead, please.
Uh, uh, no, go ahead with the question, and then I will see whether I'm on point.
Okay, sure. So before I get into the principles of what you learned in the luxury coaching,
Mm.
luxury industry, and brought into coaching, what made you get into um, life coaching?
I think myself is on
Yes.
the personal growth path since I was 23,
Uh
so
huh.
it's more than 10 years.
Uh huh.
And there was a huge event happened in my life when I was 23, and I needed to really have a breakthrough to move on. And then, like when I reached 30, so at that moment my career started to really take off, and then I started as like junior team member.
Mm-hmm.
So my coaching actually started there with my junior team members because I'm a person with idea that I don't want to, coach you or teach you just to know how to do Excel or PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
I always want my team member to grow someday they can take my spot. That was my goal. There was another personality development and, like cooperation skills and communication skills involved. If a person wants to move up the ladder in the corporate, let's say.
So
So that's how
communication
I
is very
really,
important.
yeah. So that's how I get into coaching because I want everyone in my team at some point in their career is ready to take the position as my position. And
Oh.
that's one point that I started. At the second point, because when my career started to be, it's around also 30, I've been moving like across many countries and working always in a multicultural background.
Yeah.
People started come to me to ask for career advice.
Oh, okay.
And like career advice, like they can come from like various backgrounds. Like my first company was actually IT hardware company, so it could be my old colleagues and my current colleagues and other friends I met like in personal growth groups or I was in psychology classes, so like from my psychology classmates and so on and so forth. They will come to me to ask for like career advice, how they pick the career. They want to switch paths and they couldn't. So do I have any advice and so on? That's how I started, and then I found that gradually I found that this is something that I wanted to do because I feel I'm of use of some other
Oh,
people of the society, and then like also like of course like I feel good because I
yeah.
can support people,
Yeah.
and I think what is very not satisfying, what is very
Fulfilling.
give me a lot of motivation is that
Yeah.
when I see that person really change or they came
Uh,
to me telling me they are happier, that I think like
okay.
a person can support someone to be happier. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great um capability to say, but I think like it's like Spider-Man. When you have a
Yeah.
great power, you come with
I
greater
get.
responsibilities.
Right.
So later on, whenever like someone comes to talk to me, I became like really cautious, listen to what they really want and what they are really looking for. Because at the beginning, usually people talk about things on the surface, but
Mm.
the things on the surface it's not really the key to solve any situation they are in.
Right.
So that's how I gradually getting in, and when my team gets bigger, and I worked with other colleagues from other brands in the group, and so it's all expanded. So at the end, I in China, I take the psychology counselor exam and then get the license. So,
Okay, that's great. So you got a license for this.
yeah, like I have a psychology counselor, like the first level in
Yeah.
China, because I was
Oh,
like, okay,
okay. I see.
I want to see how systematically how people work, and I was in several training of how to be a coach. It was
Yes.
provided by the company since I was a department head, but I think it's all tied together for me.
Okay. Interesting. Even before becoming formally a coach, you have already been doing this with your teammates. That's
Yeah, and then I
interesting.
found acquaintances.
Oh, going back to your the luxury industry experience, I have
Mm-hmm.
this impression that it's a very toxic industry. It's a very, meaning to say, it's all work, 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 work. Is
Yeah, it is.
is that
It is.
yeah?
It is.
And how toxic it is? Is it? Like, do you have to work like all night, all day, weekends?
I worked a lot at the beginning of my career because
Mm-hmm.
I'm competitive. And at the same time, I started a career at 25, but a lot of people actually they started when they were in internship because I started in Italy, it's an international school. So
Oh.
like I have classmates from like France or UK or the States, they have much more bigger scope in this industry. So they started with internship when they were like 18 or 20, and I was like, okay, I need to catch up. And
Oh.
also the nature of the industry is it's very fast speed and it's getting
Yeah.
faster and faster and faster over the years. So I work really long hours, like 16 hours a day is quite normal for me.
Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes weekends is also quite normal for me, especially at the beginning of my career.
Uh-huh.
And then it depends. Like when I go to like Paris or Italy for business trips, 16 hours
Mm-hmm.
is guaranteed. And then like 20 days, 15 days, even longer days straight, like no weekends, no nothing. It's also guaranteed. So it's a very intense industry. We always say like we won't last if we don't have passion. Like
Oh, okay.
I love my previous job,
Uh-huh.
and also because the stores are open 7 days and then like 18 like 10 hours a day, like the retail stores. And my team work with retail store because I'm in charge of product.
Uh-huh.
So we are in a way also on call if the store or customer has questions. And then there are always clients then since we are luxury. I always work in luxury brands. There are also a lot of like clienteling events and it usually happens during like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we need to
Uh-huh.
support the retail team. So yeah, it's quite intensive. And then also when you move out the ladder, the position is less. So everyone's competing. Like I want to
Oh.
move up and
So so
and
I
yeah,
guess
it's a
the
very intense.
yeah, so I guess they're taking a little break right now.
Well, yeah, that was the idea. So luckily last year, I ended my job in end of March, and then I started traveling a bit to Thailand, and then to LA, and then to Turkey
Oh wow.
before everything hit.
Well, at least you got to enjoy a few countries before
Yeah,
getting hit with this pandemic.
yeah. And like when I decided to leave that career, I told myself I just wanted to give myself some time to explore because I didn't
Uh-huh.
have that for quite a while. When I entered luxury and merchandising, my function was mainly in merchandising. I
Oh.
knew at 25 that was the thing that I want to do for my career. I love this. So I was really single minded and just keep charging, keep charging, keep charging in my career. And of course, I learned everything I needed to know to in the industry and everything, but it's an industry.
Nah.
And
Interesting.
so like
Yeah.
I wanted, but I'm also like for example I'm interested in surfing and working out and I like writing, I like coaching people, I like to meet people, I like traveling. So there are a lot of things I enjoy doing, but I cannot put it like not touching them, but I don't have enough time to explore each one of them. So I just take the time to explore like everything.
Great. Right. So let's go to your coaching now. All right. So
Yeah.
what are the profiles of people you coach?
Usually are business women. So
Uh-huh.
it's not necessarily like managerial. They are ranging from, people just a Sky my society for 2, 3 years to people around my age and they have really made some career progress. That's one
Mm-hmm.
profile. And uh, the second profile is uh, people who want to make change, like really change in their life.
Uh-huh.
For example, they want to move out, they want to move abroad, but they didn't know what to do, and they will come to me, or they want to really jump from industry to industry, and this I did a lot of career in a way related
Uh-huh.
uh, coaching, and also when someone want to make, let's say, dramatic change, like moving countries,
Oh, okay.
changing careers. this kind of thing. And also I did a lot of let's say personal growth, because usually people will have one event in their life, and suddenly that event then made them ask the question, who am I, or what am I doing with my life?
Okay.
And
So,
actually I also had a lot such like quite a few cases in this line that it's not about their career, it's not about their profile. It could be they have a breakup, and it's supposed to be a usual breakup, but suddenly that breakup somehow send them into the abyss of I want to know who I am, or
oh,
someone who can, or someone like have been working on a career for a long time, but they didn't see the progress, and then they started questioning themselves. It was just like a ball. They keep throwing the ball on the wall, and just one
uh-huh.
throw, it bounces back really hard. So it's not really about career, not about relationship. It's just that ball bounce really hard back, and then make them like started looking inside instead of what can they do outside.
Uh-huh.
So that's also quite a few cases
So,
just like that.
so your coaching have helped them see what? Not really the future, but come up with a direction.
Some of them, like for example, for the careers inquiries, usually for
Mm-hmm.
directions or how can them plan. But for those
Mm-hmm.
who encounter the life event that make them look inside, usually I help them to navigate how to find who they are, or how to have a definition for themselves, or to find exactly what they are looking for, or on the path to find what they are looking for in their life. So for example, there was one case. She had a breakup, and then usually it should be like normal breakup, but then she was really bad. And at the end, it went back that her childhood, that she didn't feel like she is secure, or she didn't feel that she actually deserving something she really wants. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to work on the total mindset shift
Mm.
of how she perceives her own self value. And then that self value will project to the outside encounter she will have. So that's also the kind of work that I do.
So you do it most of the time one on one, like
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
one on one coaching. Aside from coaching, do
yeah.
you also like do public lectures?
I just had one experience like recently. That's also how everything rippled out, and then that we got connected. I got invited to a high school to talk to students about, well, the topic I was given is about like how to, not confined in the frame that society asks them to do, and how to be able to dare to dream and go for their dreams, because
Oh,
they are around like 15 and 17.
right.
So at that time, so when the talk I had was about the possibilities of life. So
Yes.
that was the first public speaking I was doing. I was working on it to see where I can get opportunities, and that one opened up. So people started knowing that I'm doing it. So I'm teaching other severals in Taiwan to see whether anything will pan out.
Okay. Interesting. So I have this. You mentioned something earlier about well, help people. Um, okay. There are two schools of thought. Okay. Present in, well, in our modern society, which is either you are an expert in something, okay, you are a master of something, or you are a jack of all trades,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So but right now, society is favoring mastery or expertise, that
Mm-hmm.
in order for you to be successful you have to be an expert or a master of something.
Yeah.
But there are people who are, should I say, curious in many things,
Mm-hmm. I
and
am.
some, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
you are, like we are interested in many things. I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
interested in many different topics. So
Yeah.
How does how can people like us escape that thought that you have to be a master in something, that only people who master something become successful?
Okay. I think that first of all, I think the definition of mastery is interesting because it used to be you have to know one thing from the surface to the depth, like however
Very
deep that
yes,
is.
yes.
Some time ago, I listened to a talk. It was a speaker from China. She shared a very interesting thought, and I would love to share here. It's not my
Sure.
original, but I think it's
Yeah.
very eye-opening. He said, "If
Yeah.
I am at a 20 percentile of field A or in the field A, and I think I'm in the top 5 percentile in the industry B or field B. When I
Mm-hmm.
combine these two together, I become the first 10 percentile in these two together.
Ah, okay.
So in this way, I think it's about when we say mastery, I think in the current society, we need to look into what is our niche. I think everyone is unique. We have our own personality and we have things that we attracted to or even good at, and
Mm-hmm.
how we combine all this together and educate ourselves to a certain level of understanding. Of course, we cannot know everything on the surface and expect to be good.
Yes.
For example, I build like me, I built a career on my own, and then I have a coaching all the experience also in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a personality. I love to listen to people's stories. I love to write about their stories. And I love supporting people. So when I combine these all together, it becomes my niche. And there will be people attracted to me. They want me to do the coaching specifically, part because of my career background or my cultural background.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that everyone can explore what they like,
Mm-hmm.
and to some point, we will understand there are certain things that we want to go beyond the average understanding. And then when we go beyond every understanding, we started to look at possibility to piece them together.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing in the past 1 year and a half, almost 2 years. I like writing, I like surfing,
Yeah.
I like to do coaching, and
How do you put them all together?
how I put it together. So at the beginning, what I know is that these are the things that I love. So
Yes.
I divided my time really devoted into these things. So I'm progressing in surfing. I started really serious surfing only this year. So I really put in my efforts into surfing. So I build a lifestyle about surfing. I even write about what is the philosophical and
Yeah.
mental breakthrough I had
Mm.
through surfing. So it links to my writing. So um, from January to July, I write every single day, like every single day. That's my task to myself. And then I do coaching because I usually it's referrals. And then also like now I am partnership with a Japanese affiliate marketing company. So I have my team and my organization. So these are the people who want to break through, who do something different for their life. So I also provide coaching to them, and I'm building systematic online training program for the people that I work for this Japanese company. So like after, so I started to piece them together. And then I also find that I can leverage one of them to support me to do another to the others. So then for people that I have a niche because they don't see people who serve and living in the countryside at the same time can really dress up, make up and doing all the talk on the stage, and also have so many international experiences. So I'm gradually building up into my niche. I won't say it's easy. I'm still trying. And then
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, everyone will ask, so how you make profit out of it? Because the reality is we all need money to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
So that's also like I'm exploring, and then some part of it started to have some income stream coming in, and some part of it I don't have income stream coming in, but it's supporting this one who I will have income. So I think for me, this is the now the current society mastery. Of course, they are like engineers. We need them, to do the
Yes.
CPU. They need to know like really specific. But not everyone is. engineers
All right.
or I think
Not
that
everyone.
even English, like my friend is an English teacher, but she needs to know how to motivate her students, and that's motivation
Right.
skills, and she needs to like really know the language, so it's a language skills, and she needs to know how to organize her class, this organization and leadership skills. So I don't think that that is one person in this society can really only know one
One
thing
thing. Yes.
and then make a progress or whatever development that that person wants in his life. I think that that is just a bias that people is thinking. We all need to be well rounded and then
It has to
progress
be
to
holistic.
yeah, holistic in a lot of ways. It's just
Yes.
some people may seem trying a whole lot of more things than I do, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean ourselves we are not know, we only know one thing, you know. It's
Yeah.
just a comparison. But why do we compare ourselves with others?
Right, right, right. Good, good thoughts from you. Huh? I very
Yeah.
appreciated. Yeah, because it just reading through the your feed on your social media, you will see a lot of these things coming from
Yeah.
different magazines. So
Yeah.
I always tackle that schools those two schools of thought, trying to understand what one's trying to say, what the other is trying to say. But yeah, that's correct. At the end of the day, one cannot have only one expertise in one thing. It has to be holistic
Yeah, it's
approach.
just yeah, I think so. It's just it's not possible we do everything at the same level,
Yeah,
but they are kind of some
different.
are higher, some
Yes,
different, and then we combine them together, and then one support one another. That's all.
right. It's collaboration.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So, well, right now the situation here in the Philippines, we're still under quarantine here in Metro
Mhm.
Manila and some provinces. Okay. So, right now, most parents are working from home, and their kids
Mhm.
are also studying at home.
Mhm.
And well, uh, losing some sort of ability to do whatever you want. You can
Yeah.
no longer go out. You feel a bit of disempowerment.
Yeah.
So, being at home, staying at home, what are your tips and suggestions for parents so that they still feel that, how can they maintain their productivity? How can they
Mhm.
feel that they're doing fine? And how can, have, have their own time or privacy when everyone is at home?
Okay. Um. First of all, I really respect all parents
Yes.
who staying home and work their full time job or whatever job, and then also educating their kids. I think that's huge job they do for the society during the pandemic, and I can imagine the stress because I'm spending time with my friend's kids for 10 days. I was like, okay, respect. I don't.
Uh,
So I really respect the parents, and then during the pandemic, I can share some thoughts and also like my own practice.
sure.
Though in Taiwan we are much luckier, I must say that people in Philippines or now in France again and so on. But as I shared, like staying in Taiwan wasn't totally my plan, so I was taken aback a little bit at the beginning. But there was one key change for me to turn this around and make this a positive year for myself. It's I asked myself what's the opportunity that came up thanks to the pandemic.
Yes.
The pandemic, of course, that it brought a lot of negativity. And
Mm-hmm.
also in the news, we all saw negativity. We seldom see positivities about the pandemic.
Right.
But for sure, that's something that came up because of the pandemic that is actually of use of ourselves. For example, I slowed down. Originally, I planned to go to like 20 countries,
Yes.
and then I slowed down. So actually, this year I had the chance to, bring my self development and then my mental mastery to another level, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to spend time with my family, which I don't, and I usually don't plan that. So I think this question I asked myself, I actually really sit down and write down what are the opportunities the pandemic brought me. um, that they wouldn't be there if there's no virus.
Yeah.
So I think this ad really changed the mindset to look at the opportunities and to explore. That's one thing that I do. And then for the parents at home with their children and the couples at home with the spouse, I think it's also a good opportunity to really think how I used to spend time with my family and how do I want to spend time with my family. Because it used to be if we have conflict, we can just go out, we go to work, and then the kids go to school, or when the kids are too loud, they will go to school, for most of the day and so on. But now, probably in a lot of political people, it's not the thing. So I think it's the pandemic pushing us to reveal a new dynamic,
Yeah.
and the old ways probably it won't work. So I think it's a good opportunity also for bonding, sit down, and if the children is old enough to discuss, okay, this is the home and we are staying here, even the privacy. So there will be a dynamic, for example, I don't know, because everyone has different homes, different sizes, different organizations in the home.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, like everyone call a spot, and that's my spot during this
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
That's my spot. I'm going to be there working and, like reading or just, like
Yeah.
meditating, and everyone should respect that. So they will
Uh-huh.
create, I think, like also in this dynamic and this commitment is the family to support each other to have private time, that will build a deeper understanding for the family members to each other, what's important to that person. Because I believe for a lot of people that we don't really, for example, like before the pandemic, I really don't understand my parents. We have, our soul is like moon and earth,
Yeah.
and we could have like huge conflict. But since I need to really spend time with them, I adopted a new mindset. Okay, I want to understand how they perceive the world and how I respect their way of living life. It's a huge challenge for me. I think it's a huge challenge for everyone staying home. But at the end, it will be a growth for yourself, and it will be a huge bounce for you and your family. If you just change your mindset and asking how we can understand each other and then supporting each other to have the dynamic that person wants. But of course, for the people who has babies, it's tougher
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because babies, they don't understand and they need adult care. So in
Yes.
this case, I will suggest self love. It's very important. So for example, for babies, take a nap. Probably the mom won't be busy picking up or washing the bottles. She could, like have a bath, have a glass of wine, just some self love. It's very
Yeah.
important when like everything babies and there's no nanny available at this time. It's tough, I know. So like I think like practicing self love is very important in
All
this
right. I see.
period of
All
time.
right. Thank you. Thank you for those tips, Shuang Min. Anyway, before we end the program, I would like to know what principles. Going back to my earlier question, what principles in the luxury industry have you brought into your coaching?
Um, First is
Are there? Yeah.
the thing the coaching is that because in luxury industry it's very competitive and the pace is really fast. So either you get ahead
Mm-hmm.
or you fall behind. There's no stay at the same spot. And during coaching, for me, it's when we adapt to a personal level, it's about the society changing. So we need to change or break through ourselves. Otherwise, now we feel fine that we don't change. We can resist the change for as long as to the point that the society move forward too much. And we are forced to change. And that's a
Yeah.
very uncomfortable situation to be in. So also in the fashion industry, since I need to adapt a lot, for me, comfort zone, breaking out of comfort zone, it's it's just a common practice. So so like when I supporting my coachee to do their
Uh-huh.
personal growth or their changes, I also pay a lot of attention to their comfort zones and to ask them like, um, what stopped them changing, because that's a comfort zone. And I think breaking out of a comfort zone is very important for any personal change or personal growth. So I think like the fashion part, it it really remind me like everything is really changing, and then I really need to always break through or be connected. For example, fashion is also about understand market
Mhm.
and understand market, understand the customer, so I can bring the right product into my market. And during coaching, it's the same. I need to listen to that person. I need to even observe how she started the conversation, he or she started the conversation, or how they dress for the session, or really listen to their needs so that I can really support them. I also done this during my career in fashion, because I cannot just push a customer to buy I don't know,
Some, yeah.
$2,000 bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this really helps me a lot to do the practice interacting with the customer and knowing like change is necessary, not in
Ah,
the career, also in our life.
yes.
So I think it gives me strength. When people are resisting for change, I will be patient, but will also
Mhm.
bring during the period discussion, also try to find the key points that can really keep them to the motivation to change. And usually it works. If people can find that fit that they
That
really want to
yes.
make a change.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree because the idea of change is always used in the industry, right? In any
Yeah.
industry, that it's good to
Yeah.
change, but
Yeah.
there is a very big energy
Yeah.
that is required for the change,
Yeah.
right? So from thinking of
Yeah.
I want to do something, I have to be like this, but taking that first step really takes a big, really great energy. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And also like, yeah.
so that's
No, I
good.
I
You
also
you
like
really have to find that motivation, right?
yeah. Yeah. And also like in fashion, well, in a
Mhm.
stereotype, which a lot of times true, that we care about the appearance the most.
Yeah.
So I think like during my coaching, I can balance, because
So
people, of course, people care about their appearance or how other people perceive them, and I can totally respect that. And at the same time, to discover their inner strength. So
yes.
I will never tell people like, as long as you find your inner strength, you don't need to dress up. It's okay. You think you are overweight or something. When people come to me, I tell them that they are overweight, they want to lose weight, or
Hmm.
they want to get fit. I always ask their reasons. And when they say, "Oh, I want to feel good," or want to, get into that dress, for me, like I totally respect that, because I want to do that. That's how I keep this figure. And so I
Yes.
think it also made me realize that, because there are some like in our society who always say, "Oh, your inner beauty is more important than your appearance." But when you go into the corporate world, it's not only in
Yes.
fashion. Everywhere
E-
is the same.
everywhere.
Like you
Yeah.
go for you go for the interview, and how you dress is the first impression. So
Yes.
I think in fashion, it helps me to really, like acknowledge this the reality. So when
Yeah.
I'm doing a career coach, or when people who, want to change their image or how they think themselves, I totally respect like the outside and the inside is equally important. And I will support
Yeah.
them to do both, instead of telling them, oh, as long as you work on the inside, everything's going to be fine. No, probably not.
True. It's very important. The what you see
Yeah,
and what is inside. Yes, but
yeah,
they're equally important. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. Again, this is a very curious question. Again, I guess final question. So you've been in the West. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You stayed in Europe. You stayed in the East in China. Um,
Yeah.
is there a difference in approach when it comes to coaching? You mentioned earlier that you took a test in yeah, level one of a
China.
test in China. So is there a
Mm-hmm.
difference in what you've learned in China, the approach versus the Western approach in probably coaching, psychology, or their philosophy?
I think it's not about approach. It's about understanding the cultural background, how people express themselves. For example, for Westerners or people have more Western influence, they are much more direct. So it's easier to find out what they really want to talk about. But if for a more Eastern background like Taiwanese, Chinese, they will always start with my family, my friends, my colleague, and how I feel. They are not that accustomed to express their emotions, so I need to really some I need some time to figure out how they really feel. Because when you ask
Okay.
how do you feel, they will say, oh, but that person this and that. It's not a feeling. So for
Oh,
people from Eastern, this part it's harder, the information and to be in touch with their real feelings and real thoughts. It takes longer time than people have heavy like Westerners or heavy Western influences. And also
ah,
in the way I speak with Eastern for more Asian cultures, I always need to establish that whatever I say now is
mm-hmm.
just to support and to understand. It's not to criticize or try to pry your secrets. And but for Westerners, for more like Western cultures, I can pretty direct. We just need to say now we are discuss this matter instead of at
Oh,
the people may have a tendency to take it all personal
yeah.
because an effective coaching we need to really be honest, direct in a way. I won't
Mm-hmm.
say ruthless, but we need to direct in a way to tackle the situation instead of beating on the bush. So with more Asian side of culture, I need to always establish now we are discussing the matter. We are here because you want to change. I need to really make sure we need to establish the consensus that that person wants to change, that everything can go on. So I don't think on the approach itself fundamentally it's any different. It's more of the cultural background, how everyone express themselves, and it's easier to to discuss individuality and to think for yourself with people who's heavily influenced from the
Western.
Western.
Yes.
Yeah, but for our own culture,
Yeah.
we were educated and we are also in a society that we take care of others much more. The concept is much more rooted compared to our
Yes.
Western counterparts.
Uh-huh.
So when the coach because coaching is personal, it's about personal change and personal happiness or whatever. So if their situation is really intertwined with outsiders like
Yes.
family, friends, colleagues, and so on,
That's why it's harder.
it takes longer time. It takes longer time to tell them that you need to think about yourself first, and then what you can do for yourself first, because everyone will as an ideal self being selfish that way. But for me, being selfish is not taking care of yourself first, because when we are not well, we are as no use of anyone.
Mm-hmm. So
But
you
this
can.
concept is very difficult for Easterners to,
Right, right, right. So
yeah,
it's hard to give something you don't have, right? I mean,
yeah,
so right. So yeah, interesting. Well, Shuangmin, this was a very interesting discussion. I've learned
yeah.
so
Thank
much
you.
about the luxury industry. I've learned so much about the difference in not really in the approach of coaching someone from the
Mm,
east and someone from the west. Very interesting, and also your ideas on being a master of
yeah.
something or
Mm,
having multiple interests.
yeah.
Anyway, Shuangmin, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
yes, any more last words or tips from you?
I write down something. I think like
Sure.
because we've been talking about pandemic,
Yes.
we think that we are locked down, but we are a privileged generation that we have internet.
Yes.
So for whatever support and connection we are looking for, if you use the internet to your own advantage, it's a
Mm-hmm.
great way for connection. For example, I connect to Jeff through some people that I connect in the internet, through internet, and to be honest, this year my social life is the most active than ever, and so. So it's about like when we face a situation, it's all about exploration and ask ourselves the
Yes.
question. So what is the possibility here?
Yes.
And once we started looking for possibilities, they are everywhere.
Yes, true. I think a lot of people are saying that 2020 is bad, but I think 2020 is the year of self-discovery and
Yeah, I think so
discovering other
too.
people, right?
I think so
So,
too.
yeah, and it has been so far, in a way, I'd like to say that it has been, in terms of self-discovery, it has been wonderful. In terms
Yeah.
of,
It,
relationship building, it has been
mhm.
wonderful as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So anyway, Shuangmin, thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time. Yes, and I'll be let's keep in touch. I'll be
Yeah,
sending you my
sure.
personal blog as well. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a good
How
day.
about likewise? Bye.